Hey guys, welcome back, and this week we are going to be going through a tutorial on how to build that joke bot. So last week I gave you guys a chance to try it out on your own, learn some of the concepts that we used, practice with them, and now I'm going to show you how I would approach the same assignment. We are going to get to learn some new concepts and use some of the concepts that we just learned. So let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let me pull this up real quick. Here we go. So, something to note before we begin, before we get into this, you are going to need headphones. So if you're not listening right now, if you're not using headphones, then you can't hear me. So I'm gonna type a message. Okay, you need headphones so that you can hear everything that I'm saying. So go ahead. Pause right now and get headphones if you're not listening on headphones. You don't want to annoy everybody around you. You don't want to miss anything. So if you don't have headphones, then at least turn the volume up so that you can hear it, because you do need to hear what I'm saying, because I'm going to be teaching and explaining. All right, so now to get into it. One thing to note before we begin, there are two, basically, if you see me throw these glasses on right here, so you can see the reflection right there. If you see me throw these glasses on, that means you need to be coding along with me, right? So you need to be typing what I'm typing, trying to build the same thing. But if I'm not wearing these glasses, don't code, okay? Don't be coding unless you want to pause the video and take some of your own time. But when I'm not wearing the glasses, you need to be listening. You need to be learning, because a lot of times I might even make mistakes, and then you might have typed something and then you have to erase all of it. So don't do that. Just try to listen while I'm explaining. Then when I throw the glasses on, that means it's time for you to code along. All right, now before we get into the code, let me explain some of the concepts we're gonna learn. First off, if you like my setup here with these different fonts, I got these from Google Fonts. Right here, this is where I get a lot of fonts. You can search fonts and then embed them into your HTML. You can search YouTube to learn how to do that. It's super easy. All right, so also if you like the background here, how it kind of looks like paper, I got that from transparenttextures.com. Transparenttextures.com, check that out. Super simple as well. But without further ado, let's get into what we're working on. So concepts we will learn. All right, so some review. We learned about variables, all right? We learned about strings, we learned about numbers, Booleans, and we learned about functions. So some review. If you want to take notes on this, you can. Variables are basically a way to store data. So you're storing data into something that has a name. You'll see what I mean when we use it. Strings are just a set of characters. Strings could be letters, they could be numbers. Numbers are digits, so things we can do math with. Booleans are either true or false. If something is either true or false, it's usually a Boolean. And functions. Functions are a collection of code that does something. So you'll see when we start to use functions and all of that, you'll get the hang of it. All right, some new concepts we're going to learn are if statements, math methods, arrays, and objects. So we might get to objects. Objects might be a little bit too complicated for you, but we'll see what we can do. I'm going to try and keep this video a little short. I know people complain if I make it too long. So here we go. as usual, I'm going to start off with a new code pen by clicking Pen. All right, and all right, let's go to my HTML. I'm going to just type this, HTML, and hit Tab. All right, so this is where you guys start typing along with me, because I'm going to teach you guys how to build this joke bot, at least the HTML for now. So first we have the HTML, then we have the head, and if you want to, you can skip this part, the head, title, and in the title I'm going to name it my joke bot. I wouldn't skip this. This is information for the browser. Now here is where we have the body, and we have the H1. This is stuff you guys should know how to do, so you shouldn't have to pause too much. I'm telling you what I'm typing, and you can do the same thing. You guys know that all of your pages have a body, right? You have a body, and then you have an H1, which is going to be the biggest title on your page. So that's going to be click the button to hear a joke. So you probably don't type as fast as me, maybe you do, but all I did was I typed the H1, so you should not be lost right now. If you just type nothing else but H1, you will have the same thing as me here. So H1. Next, I'm going to create the actual button, and I will do that by typing button. Okay, button, and inside my button, I want some words. Talk to jokebot. Let me make that camel case, because it's JavaScript themed. Camel case is when you have two words. The first one is lowercase, and the second and every other word after is uppercase. That's how you type in JavaScript. Okay, so I'm going to, so this is the HTML here, and see here I have click the button to hear a joke, and then my button doesn't do anything yet. We're going to add that. So let's go to the CSS now. All right, so the CSS, and guys, don't spend too much time on this. You really don't need anything fancy. I'm just going to center it. Body, oops, body, text, align, center, and that puts everything in the center. That's nice. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give everything a little bit of margin. So let's see. Let's go with H1. I'm going to give it some margin just so it's not all the way up at the top. And let's do 50 pixels. Oops, sorry. Margin. 50 pixels all around. So top and bottom. Let's make that 100. So fit 100 pixels all around. And yeah, that's fine. That's good. So that's all the CSS I'm going to do right here, because the point of this is not CSS. I don't want to make this video super long. Just giving you some simple CSS, you know, for you guys. If you're trying to copy everything I'm doing, it might take 20 minutes for some of you, even though my CSS might not be too many lines. So you have the freedom to make this look however you want. All right, I'm gonna stick with this basic stuff. Maybe I'll make my button a little bit bigger. So let's do that. Button, padding, 50 pixels all around. There we go. And if we do that, we might as well make the text bigger. Text, oh sorry, font size. Let's go with 20 pixels for that. There we go, talk to jokebot. Okay, so this is my button, super ugly. Once again, yours is gonna look better once you add your CSS. Next, we wanna get into the JavaScript, which is the whole point of this lesson, right? We're like 8 minutes in and we're finally to the JavaScript. Great. So, the JavaScript is not too complicated. I'm going to show you guys. So first, let's break this down. So let me take off the glasses. All right, don't code, don't type what I'm typing. This is for you to learn. All right, we have some things we want to do here. So first thing we want to do is we want the joke bot to ask you if you want to hear a joke. So when you click it, so let's say you don't type this, don't type this, just pay attention to what I'm typing. When I click, ask, oh my goodness, I'm typing is bad. Ask if I want to hear a joke. All right, so I'm gonna comment that out because that's a comment for me because I'm a human. I can read that. The computer has no idea what this means because this is not code. When I click, ask if I want to hear a joke. So that's the first thing we want to do, right? And so next, if I say okay, then if I say okay, start the joke. All right, and then once I answer, check if I'm right, and then if I'm right, congrats. If I'm wrong, tell answer. Okay, so here we just have a few steps, right? This is all we want to do with our JavaScript. So first, we want to say when I click, ask if I want to hear a joke. Okay, so there are some functions that we know, and once again, you're not coding along, you're just paying attention until I put the glasses on. So there's some functions that we know that we learned last time that we can use here. So we learned the prompt function, right? We learned prompt, we learned alert. Oh, see, now it's doing it here. So I'm gonna comment these out just so they don't run all the time, but I want you to see that these are here and know that these are functions that we learned already. Okay, we learned prompt, we learned alert, and we learned confirm. Prompt, alert, confirm. All right, and I commented them out so that they don't run. Great, so let's see, which of these do you think we're gonna use for our first task? When I click, ask if I wanna hear a joke. So we're asking if I wanna hear a joke, and this is a Boolean, right? Either yes, I wanna hear a joke, or no, I don't wanna hear a joke. Well, if we do alert, here's what happens. So let me comment this back in. Want to hear a joke? All right, here we go. Want to hear a joke? Okay, well that doesn't give me an option, right? This is just an alert. So it's not a Boolean. There's no yes or no. There's no true or false. So that's not the one we want to use. Now, if I do prompt, here's what happens here. So let me take this here. And you're not typing along. You're just paying attention. So if I say prompt, it's going to say, want to hear a joke? Okay, so there's okay here and there's cancel, but then it's asking me to put something in. I can type yes, or I could type literally anything, right? And this is not checking my answer. So that's not a Boolean. That's not either yes or no. That could be anything. So I want a Boolean. I want either yes or no. And the one that's going to give me that is confirm. So want to hear a joke. Let me take that there, put it in confirm. So I'm confirming whether or not I want to hear a joke. All right, confirm. Want to hear a joke? And I can say yes, okay, or I can say no, cancel. Great. So this is the one we're going to use. So let me put the glasses on. And this is what you are going to type. Now, if you want to pause and type some of these notes here so that you can keep track of what your code does, which I suggest, then go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take my confirm here. I'm cutting it and I'm pasting it here. And I'm just using Command X, Command V to cut and paste. If you're on something other than a Mac, it'll be different. All right, so now I have want to hear a joke, okay, or cancel. Great. All right, guys. Now let me teach you how to actually check if I want to hear that joke or not. The way we're going to do that is using an if statement. Now let me show you what happens if I just alert this right here. So it's going to alert, here, let me comment this out for now. And I'm going to say alert. And let me comment this back in. All right, glasses off for that. You don't need to type that. So I'm alerting confirm, want to hear a joke. Now what that's doing is it's saying you're going to alert the answer to this. So if confirm, here I might be confusing you. Let me store this in a variable. You don't need to copy this, you just need to learn right now. So let me press cancel. And here, let me undo what I just did because I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so I have a variable, and this is going to be, let's call it response. And you don't need to type this because I don't have the glasses on. Response, and I'm going to set that equal to this right here. Oops. All right. Okay, so now I have a variable called response, and the response is either true or false. Do I want to hear a joke? And now I'm storing my response in this variable. So I'm going to put the glasses on here, and what you should have is confirm, quotations, want to hear a joke, quotations, and all I added was var response equals. So go ahead and add var response equals. This is everything that's not commented out is all you need right now. So don't get confused. If you have some comments, that's good, that's helpful. So here we're focused on asking if I want to hear a joke when I click. All right, so now I'm storing this response here. Now watch what happens, taking the glasses off, so you don't need to type this. Watch what happens when I alert this response. Alert, and hold on. Alert, okay, response. All right, so now I'm alerting this response. So first, the page refreshes and it runs this code here. It wants this variable, so it's asking me, want to hear a joke? And I'm going to say okay. And then it runs the code right under it, alert the response. The response was true. True, I did want to hear a joke. Now check this out. If I click false, so let me erase that semicolon just to refresh the page. Okay, that didn't work because I didn't really change any code. Here, I'll comment it out and then comment it back in. All right, want to hear a joke? Now if I click cancel, it alerts false. So I am storing this response here in a variable that I called response. So I don't need this alert. I just wanted to show you guys what I'm doing when I put it in a variable called response. So now that I have that, I can comment this out because I don't want it to run every single time. And I can erase that. So let me put the glasses back on. That means we're going to start coding. So we know how to get it to ask if I want to hear a joke. But now we need to figure out how to check what my response is. Well, we got the response, we saved it. Now we need to check if that response is true or false. If it's true, we want to do this code here. If I say okay, if it's true, start the joke. All right, now if I say no, do nothing. All right, so you don't want to tell me a joke if I don't want to hear a joke, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to use. So we have this here of our response. Now, the way we're going to do this is by using an if statement. And so this is going to be pretty simple here. What we're going to do here is we're going to say if, and then we're going to take our code here. And here, we're not even going to store this response because we don't need it. All we need is true or false. So we know that this right here is either going to tell us true or false depending on which button I click. So if true, then we're going to do one thing. If it's not true, then do another thing. So actually, let me put this if statement up here. So if, and then I'm just going to take this confirm and put it inside of the if statement. So let me make that easier for you to read. So if, right? And it's gonna confirm, which means it's just gonna ask me, wanna hear a joke? If I click yes, then we're gonna run some code. So let me open this up, and this is actually a function. So see, now it's asking me, wanna hear a joke? And I click okay, so now it's true. But I don't have anything inside this function yet, so nothing happens. But I will put something in here. What do we want to happen if I say, yes, I want to hear a joke? We want the joke to start. So in order to get the joke, what we're going to do is we are going to, let's see, we're going to prompt. We're going to ask the user to input something because we're asking them to guess the answer, right? So let's take our prompt here. First, let's get a joke. So let's see. I have some jokes somewhere. Thought I got jokes already. Let me check right here. All right, well, I know some that we had in class. So, what do you call a cow? Oh, it's running here. Let me comment that out. All right, what do you call a cow with no legs? Okay, so this is my joke here. It's in a prompt. Now watch what happens when I comment this back in. We get a prompt that pops up. Well, this is kind of messing that up. Oops, all right, let me just reset. All right, what do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. LOL. Okay, so that's how we're gonna get our joke to go. So let's cut that, let's put it up here. And let's put this back here. And I'm gonna cancel that. Let me comment this back in. Okay, so let me explain to you what's going on here. Starting from the top to the bottom, this is all we have here. So let me take the glasses off. We only have 4 lines of code. 4 lines of code. Let me explain what each one does. So let me make this wider, actually. That will make it easier to see. All right, so if, all right, so if, let's ignore if for now, but let's look at what's inside of the if statement. Confirm if I want to hear a joke, all right? So that's basically what it says. Confirm whether or not I want to hear a joke. If this is true, then whatever's inside these brackets is going to happen. So, want to hear a joke, and it's going to ask me, if I say yes, if I say okay, it's going to ask me, what do you call a cow with no legs? All right, now let me show you what happens. Just going to comment that out just to kind of refresh. I'm going to show you what happens if I click yes. So if well, you know what happens if I click yes. Our code tells us. But if I click cancel, watch what happens. Nothing. Okay, so if I say no, do nothing. We got that already. Great. So that is going to be, yeah, we don't even need to, yeah, that goes right here. And if I say okay, start the joke. Cancel. I don't want to hear the joke. All right, if I say okay, start the joke, I'm going to put that right here just to organize, just to tell what our code is doing. And so this is getting kind of annoying, you know, asking me over and over again. Every time it refreshes, do I want to hear a joke? Do I want to hear a joke? So instead of having to comment this out all the time, I'm going to store it in a function. You may have already thought of this. Now, a function allows us to run the code when we want to. So not just whenever, right? So I'm going to call this function, and it's going to refresh. So I'm going to press cancel. This function is going to be called start joke. Start joke. And that's camel case, right? Because we're typing JavaScript. And I also, start joke, I also put the parentheses to tell that this is a function. All right, I shouldn't have put that there. And now I need to open it up with curly brackets. So putting the glasses on, this right here is what you need to have. You need to have function, start joke, parentheses, and then the curly brackets. So the parentheses tells our browser this is a function, and the curly brackets is to define the function. So all of this code here, remember a function is just a collection of code that does something. So this keeps doing it, right? So instead of having it out in the open, I'm going to take this code that we have, a collection of code, and I'm going to put it inside this function. There we go. So now it's only going to ask me if I want to hear a joke when I call this function. To call the function, I just type start joke and parentheses calls the function. So now it asks me, want to hear a joke? No, I don't. Cancel. And nothing happens because this only happens if, because it's inside the if statement, if this is true. And when I click cancel, it's false. All right, so we've knocked out a few of our objectives. So when I click, all right, so this is something we need to take care of. When I click, we want this function to happen when I click the button. And that is super easy. Let's keep my glasses on because I want you guys to type this as well. Go over to our HTML, and we're going to add an attribute to our button. So you know how buttons can have classes, they can have style, they could have IDs. Those are all attributes. Another attribute we can add is onClick. And what onClick does is onClick says, see, now it's calling our function. Let me fix that. So I don't want to call this function here. You guys delete that too. We don't want this refreshing and doing that all over the every time. Anyways, so this is an attribute called onClick, and yeah, so that is all one word, onClick equals, and in our quotations here, because this is HTML, we're going to say what's going to happen when we click this function, when we click this button. And we want a function to run. We want our function start joke to run. So onClick start joke. And we're going to get it without the parentheses here. So onClick start joke. You could type this out if you want. And now let me just test it. Let's see if it works without the parentheses. Okay, it doesn't. So let's add the parentheses. There we go. So now it should work. Now onClick, when I click this button, it will start my joke. Want to hear a joke? No. Hello. All right. So now we have taken care of this part here. When I click, ask if I want to hear a joke. Great, we got that. So let me take this and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put it here to tell us what this onClick button does. And because it's HTML, we have to comment it out a different way, like that. For me, I just do command/. If you're on something other than a Mac, it will be control/. On a Mac, it's command/. And that's to comment it out. And if you don't have, if it still doesn't work, just type this. Type these here and these here, and that's how you comment out in HTML. So these are just notes for what this button does. When I click, ask if I want to hear a joke, and it is running our function here. Now, if you are doing this in a code editor, something to note is you will need to link your code editor to your JavaScript first. So if you need help doing that, let me know, or you can look that up, how to link your script, your JavaScript to your HTML. But if you're on CodePen, don't worry about it. Everyone doing this on CodePen is going to be doing the same thing. All right, so we have this here. We don't need that. So we have our function, right? It's 4 lines of code long. It's really 3 lines of code. This is just a part of that. And this, so we have a function. The function is called start joke. If I want to hear a joke, so if confirm that I do want to hear a joke. If I do want to hear a joke, if I click OK, then run this code. Prompt, what do you call a cow with no legs? Right, but if I click cancel, this returns false, and the if statement is false. So it doesn't run any code. All right, great. Now we want to do a few more things. We want to, 1, check if the answer is right. 2, we want to say if I'm right, congratulate me and say, wow, you got it, right? We want to check if it's wrong. We want to tell the right answer if it's wrong, and we don't need to alert anything. All right, so that is the first part here. Well, maybe this is the second part for you, but I'm gonna stop it right here. And when we come back, we will go over the rest of our joke bot. So hope you're proud of yourself. For now, we have this part here. Want to hear a joke? Okay. All right, but it doesn't tell us if we're right or not. So we will fix the rest of the joke in the next video. See you guys.